As the sun shifted over Fulton County, the quiet hum of normal operations was replaced by a tension so thick it seemed to press against every surface, every corridor, every hesitant movement, with officials acutely aware that the raid had transformed their offices from ordinary workplaces into symbolic arenas where legal authority, political narratives, and public scrutiny collided. And as they navigated the day, the emotional weight of anticipation, uncertainty, and cautious calculation was almost palpable, every glance between colleagues carrying unspoken messages of concern, solidarity, and instinctive fear, each person silently measuring the consequences of each action, the potential for misinterpretation, and the ripple effects of their professional decisions on careers, reputations, and public trust, realizing that the ordinary rhythms of work had been replaced by the extraordinary dynamics of a real-time national drama. Inside the rooms where election data, voter files, and procedural records were stored, officials found themselves pausing to consider the symbolic power of what was being examined, aware that to law enforcement this was part of a methodical investigation, but to the public, amplified through news coverage and social media speculation. It was a narrative ripe for interpretation, a story where context could be ignored, where nuance could be lost, and where the ordinary procedures of democracy could be reframed as extraordinary suspicion, and in that tension, instinct collided with intellect as professionals tried to remain calm, precise, and measured, even as fear threaded through every action and decision. Local staff recounted, often off record, a pervasive sense that the raid might serve as a pretext for broader political theater, a calculated intersection of legal procedure and narrative construction designed to generate uncertainty, anxiety, and leverage over public perception, and the awareness that they were caught in a story much larger than themselves heightened the stakes, with even minor procedural choices potentially amplified into proof of wrongdoing or mischaracterized as evidence of incompetence or malfeasance, forcing every individual to navigate the narrow path between compliance, integrity, and self-preservation while maintaining the professional composure demanded by their roles. The reporter documenting these moments observed the subtle choreography of human behavior under pressure, noting how officials adjusted their posture, modulated their voices, and carefully timed interactions in a manner that suggested both procedural awareness and instinctive caution, how whispered instructions and careful eye contact replaced casual communication, and how the ambient energy of fear, anticipation, and intense focus radiated outward, affecting every participant, every observer, and even the bystanders, demonstrating the psychological complexity of moments where ordinary work is suddenly reframed as extraordinary scrutiny. Analytical observers began contextualizing the raid within the broader political environment, emphasizing that the intersection of local governance, federal investigation, and public perception creates unique pressures for officials, and that even in situations of strict procedural compliance, the human dimension of fear, uncertainty, and anticipation can influence decisions, interactions, and communications, highlighting how public service operates not in isolation, but within a network of social, political, and psychological forces that amplify both risk and consequence in ways that are impossible to fully anticipate in the moment. Officials reflected on the paradoxical nature of their roles, responsible for maintaining the integrity of electoral processes while simultaneously under extraordinary scrutiny, aware that the trust and confidence of the public rested in part on their composure, judgment, and transparency, and that every interaction, every decision, and every word might be replayed, analyzed, and interpreted in a national narrative, reinforcing the delicate balance between professional duty and personal vulnerability, and reminding them that moments like this reveal the extraordinary weight carried by those entrusted with the mechanics of democracy. By the evening, the sense of unease persisted, evolving from immediate fear into a reflective awareness of the structural and symbolic implications of the raid, as officials, journalists, and analysts alike began to grasp that this was not merely an isolated investigation but a lens through which questions of authority, accountability, and trust would be filtered for the public, and that the actions taken, the choices made, and the instincts exercised today could resonate far beyond Fulton County, influencing not only the perception of local governance but the broader narrative of public confidence in electoral systems, and underscoring that in moments of national focus, even routine actors can find themselves at the center of historical consequence. If you're ready, I can continue with Part 4. keeping the same ultra-long, dramatic, analytical style, fully immersive many experts believe could impact the future of U.S. elections. In this cinematic deep dive narration, we explore the hidden strategies, political pressure, and growing battle over democracy as Donald Trump's influence continues ahead of the midterms. From secret meetings to election system access and psychological warfare over public trust, this story uncovers how power, loyalty, and manipulation may be reshaping American politics forever.